All right, peace, power, and love as always, and greeting. Want to welcome you all. I've been kind of MIA. Want to thank all of you who have subscribed and continue to subscribe and like the content, share the content, um, and keep up the good work. Like I say, I'm just really trying to start a movement, solidify a movement, continue a movement, begin a new movement. I just want to get us moving. Um, want to thank, as always, my ActivateMedia.org family out of Boston, Mass, um, who will get this broadcast on Fridays at 9 p.m. Um, like I say, been MIA, got a lot of stuff going on, personal stuff, illnesses in the family. So it's kind of had me, between work and everything else, just trying to keep up with life itself, just quite a bit going on. And like I always say, we definitely need each other. I'm going to throw it in right here at the beginning, Uh, now more than ever, I've said this several times. I think that right now, at this particular point in time, that everybody's dealing with some type of adversity, some type of family illness, or just, people are really going through it. And not only that, you couple that with the economy, inflation, and just trying to live from day to day. Um, it's hard, and I applaud everybody that's still here surviving the madness, you know, and I guess that's a good segue into my topic, the madness. Um, we're entering another election cycle. Um, and it looks like once again we gonna have the same two old dudes, you know, to vote for. Um, I'm really to a point where, damn the vote, because the vote hadn't gotten us anything. I'm really to a point where I'm not understanding why we keep breaking our necks, and not only breaking our necks to run to the polls, but we break our necks to run to the polls, and we as black people predominantly vote Democrat. It's just in our DNA. It's been passed down from generation to generation to generation, and a lot of people don't believe it. And I know when I first discovered it, it was hard for me to believe too. But the majority of black people in the beginning were Republicans and held seats and offices as Republicans, but um, that's really neither here nor there, because in today's day and time, Republican or Democrat is really two wings on the same bird. The Republicans are not going to give us anything, and that's just one thing that we can always expect from the Republicans. But on the other hand, that's also something that we can always expect from the Democrats as well. And here we are. in another election cycle with the same two buffoons running for office. I'm not sorry. I'm going to call a spade a spade. We got two jackasses running for president. Donald Trump being the biggest jackass, and Joe Biden, he really just can't help it. His age is showing. And honestly, I didn't think that he would live this 4-year term. I definitely not trying to be morbid, but just being realistic. I mean, mentally, his mental capacity is really not all there. And we saw that on several occasions when he was talking about Israel, but saying Ukraine. And sometimes vice versa, and miscalling names. And Donald Trump is no better. And Donald Trump is just an idiot. Plain and simple. He just says whatever his foolish mind feels like saying. He's like a 4-year-old who learns a new word every day and can't wait to use it. You know, and he's really mentally no better because of his ignorance and his just wanting to do things his way. You know, so we're faced with the same dilemma that we were faced with 4 years ago. And now you can see that they pulled Enhide Harris out of the closet and started putting her on the parade tour in order to try to corral the black votes again. I just really hope that we don't fall for it. And not only black people, I mean, let's just be realistic. Right now, like I said in the beginning, everybody right now is suffering. Right now, it's hard for everybody. It's hard to put food on your table, and it's sad when you have to make decisions like, should I pay the light bill or buy some groceries? Should I pay the water bill or buy my medicine? Well, should I buy my medicine and put something on the water bill or something on the light bill, or get my medicine and buy a few groceries, and a few groceries you can spend $100 on a few groceries. I was being funny a few weeks ago, but I made the statement that, hell, you can go in a store now and get a handbasket and put $100 worth of groceries in a handbasket. You don't even need a buggy. I remember there was a time you could go to a grocery store and spend $100 or a little over $100 and fill a buggy up. You know, and this wasn't that long ago. I mean, how the times have changed, and this government has become more and more greedy, more and more centered on its own survival. And that's really what we got to pay attention to as well, because this government here in America is trying to survive just like everybody else. It's been on the verge of several shutdowns over the last few months, and just was on the verge of another one a few days ago. And it's going to be right back in a few days. So, how can a government that's trying to save itself save its people? And then, not only that, you take this administration that told black people, and specifically in hiding Kamala Harris, making the statement that when she was asked about reparations, she made the statement that no, we can't just do anything. We're not going to just do anything specifically for black people. She said that, and she meant that. And within a year, they signed an Asian hate crime bill into law. Now, I'm not mad about it, and I ain't hating on the Asians about it, but I mean, damn, I haven't turned the news on lately and saw many Asians being brutalized by police or being brutalized by these so-called American citizens. I haven't saw that happening to them. I haven't saw where in Georgia they found an Asian or any other ethnicity hanging. I haven't saw in any news media reports where they found Asians or Hispanics or, you know, any other ethnic group hanged. And then it's always ruled suicide. And see, that's something this administration just told a dry lie. Basically, this administration told a dry lie because Joe Biden definitely knows who put him in office, how he got in office, why he got in office. Because black people poured to the polls because he added Kamala Harris for one, and because they were just so afraid of Donald Trump winning again. And we helped him get in office. And he said out of his own lips that he has our backs. And what has he done for us? What has this Department of Justice done for us? The ones who are always targeted. For the ones of us who are making hashtags and t-shirts and saying names on a regular basis. What did this Democratic administration do for us? And I'm not trying to discourage you against Joe Biden and encourage you into Trump. I don't give a damn about either one of them. And neither one of them will get my vote. Period. I didn't vote the last election because I didn't forget about Joe Biden writing that 3 strikes and you're outlaw. I didn't forget that. I didn't forget how back during that era, how we were, and I was a young man. I was in that group that they would have considered and deemed and labeled as super predators. That was the rhetoric at that particular point in time. And Joe Biden was responsible for the uh, bill that led to the mass incarceration of so many black people for minor infractions. And let's just be real, okay? Right. Somebody does something wrong. They should be punished, but not overly punished. And that's what that law did. Because, see, back in that particular era, it's not like it is now with the opioid crisis. See, you got this administration bending over backwards to provide aid and to provide rehabilitation, not jail. See, back in the 80s, Joe Biden was about whether you're using or selling, you're going to jail. But now, see, this opioid crisis is affecting a whole nother demographic. Them. Now, I'm not saying it's not touching us, because it's touching us too. It's definitely touching us too. But notice how, with Republican or Democratic, but notice how when things are happening to the complexion of the demographic that has the protection, notice how there's a sense of urgency. You know, and think back. I'll take y'all back. If you know, some of y'all that may see this may be too young to remember, but I'll take you back to the 80s when crack hit the streets and it was decimating black families. I mean, I don't think that it was one black family in America that crack did not affect. And not saying that every black family was on crack. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that every black family probably had someone within their family that was caught up in that epidemic when it first hit, because it was truly an epidemic, and it had people all out of character. It had people doing any damn thing to get it. But the government treated it as seller, go to jail. User, you ain't sick, you going to jail. See, there were no rehabs for the addicts. They were building prisons. That's when they were really getting off into that privatization of prisons during that era and all through the 90s up until now. Because they needed somewhere to put those new workers, those new slaves, because that's what they were focused on in the 80s. Getting that free labor again. That's what America is all about. America is about that dollar that ain't worth shit, and all about trying to get some free labor, trying to initiate AI into everything, and autonomous vehicles, all of this that they're trying to do to eliminate the American worker and eliminate the need to have to pay insurance and wages and all that. And there are a lot of areas that it may work, but there are some areas, I'm sorry to say, that the idea is going to fail, because I don't care what type of computer or autonomous system or AI system that you build, it's not going to be able to outthink and think as immediate as the human brain, especially with the autonomous diesel idea. Terrible idea. It's going to be a lot of that's I mean, even though it may travel the same path every day, it's going to be every day is going to be different. The traffic's going to be different every day. It's not going to be the same every day. They've been trying it with these taxis, and I can't remember the name of the corporation that they shut down because they were having so many wrecks. And then it was causing problems when emergency vehicles were approaching and trying to maneuver. So some things are not going to work. And see, this is why I say we got to really think and understand who we are. And we got to really understand the fact that we don't need to be governed, especially by a system that don't give a damn about its people anyway. And that's evident. This system, this administration right now that told us, I was going to make this point a while ago, that specifically told us there were no reparations, but have actively been sending money. They've always sent money to Israel. That's nothing new. I mean, I thought everybody knew that. So, I mean, when Israel, the stuff Israel's doing jumped off, I mean, then they start kicking more money out. That didn't surprise me because they kick out money to Israel every year, or whenever they need it. And this administration, this Congress, and this Senate, this House, they'll get that done. You know, they trying to save their souls, but they still not atoning to the right people. That's always been another one of America's big downfalls. Its inability to atone. But this administration straight out said, like I said a moment ago, what Enhine Harris said, that there were nothing specifically that they were going to do for black people. And that Joe Biden even said there were no reparations. There no money for that. But they can dig deep enough in the bowl to pull Ukraine out of hole and then fund their war and then weaponize them. And then allow their citizens to come over here and then set them up on land and then give them more money on top of that and then allow them to apply for SSI benefits and give them pretty much freedom, citizenship here. Oh, and another thing, giving them tax freedom as well. But what does it do for those of us who have resided in this hellhole for a lifetime? For my whole 54 years I've been here, and I haven't got a damn thing from this government for free. And see, they always hollering how they don't have money to reparate us. Well, give us free health care. Give us tax freedom, like you giving these Ukrainians that have come over here basically never contributed anything to this country, but taking our tax dollars, the tax dollars that you and I pay, cause what? Let's talk about that for just one quick moment. Cause they tax us when they pay you, and then, every time you spend $1, they taxing that too. Then at the end of the year, they want more taxes after they've already taken taxes out of the money that you made. Just a system to keep you broke, and something else too. Show me the law. Anybody that can show me the law where we have to pay taxes, put it in the comments. I do respond to the comments when they come. Yeah, put that in the comments, because I am yet to find the law. And then we're being taxed without representation as well. But anyway, yeah, the same tax dollars that we pay, that we bust our ass and pay, these Ukrainians got to just come over here and partake of the money that we pay. Not even to mention all the money that we pay that they just blow on all this going to Mars bullshit. I'm going to tell you now, you can't live on Mars. And you can't dodge the Most High. When He ready to extinguish you, He's going to extinguish you. It don't matter where you run to. You can't hide from the Most High. That's why you fools is in such a frenzy right now, because you know that your time to pay has come. Our curse has been lifted. And see, a whole lot of truth is starting to come to light. And a whole lot of people are starting to wake up to the corruptness of this sideways United States government. I'm not scared to say what needs to be said. So many people be on these platforms and trying to dance around things. People are not children. We're grown. Don't nobody need to beat around no bush. Now you got this system, like I say, supporting these Ukrainians, but half-ass support the people who help and have helped keep this country afloat for decades. So that's why I despise this system, and that's why I say damn the vote. Because what's the vote gonna get you? Besides the little white sticker, I voted. So what? And I say, as black people, what are we voting for? There's never been a candidate that had our whole best interest at hand. And if you can name one, drop his name in the comments. I can't think of not one president. Not even old Barack. Nah, he dropped the ball too. He fumbled. So, I mean, why do we vote? What are we voting for? Which one of these fools got our best interest at hand? We already know Joe Biden, ain't shit Joe, and Enhine Harris don't have our best interest at hand. We have saw that over the past 4 years. You know, the American way of doing things is alive and well. And when I say the American way of doing things, I mean the violence, the murders, the lynchings that are happening. Because I'm just going to keep it straight up. Not all, and I don't think not any of these have been suicides. That's just a quick write-off to keep from having to truly do an investigation. And who cares about the niggas anyway? That's the mentality. From the White House to these little small courthouses sprinkled all across America. It's the same mentality. And why can't we see that by now? And what I'm saying is, like I said earlier, we don't need to be governed. We all know right from wrong, and yeah, people who do wrong need to be dealt with. Period. I don't care what their stature is in society, what their title is, none of that matters. If you ain't doing what's right, you ain't about shit. You just another person that's out here selfishly living selfishly and feeding the monster, as they say. Because that's all that happens. The government takes care of the government. The government does not and was not formed to protect the people. That should be truly evident by now. And so, why would we do some insane shit like voting for Ain't Shit Joe and then hiding Harris for another 4 years? Don't vote. Just withhold your vote. Or like a lot of people have been doing, voting on that offline, to where it's just calculated but not given to any candidate. Not given to the candidate, because see, in order to be recognized, you must first be seen. And they haven't seen us yet. And I'm not just gonna spit on Biden. I mean, Donald Trump has no business even being able to run for president. If any black man had been president and done the shit he did, it would have been a whole lot of dead black bodies on the White House that day. If any black president had said the insightful things that dumb Donald said that day, he'd be in jail right now. They'd been had his trial and he'd have been locked up probably last year sometime, a year before. It'd been 4 years since, 3 and a little over 3. So yeah, black president would have been already done a couple of years in jail behind what dumb Donald did. And then he just acts so dumb and goofy and gullible, like he has no clue. That's all in that. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what kind of asshole he is. He knows who he is. And a lot of other people do too. But a lot of people will ride inside out of fear or out of some sort of control that person may have over them, or whatever the case may be. But I don't care for him either, because of the simple fact that racism has and will always exist until white people extinguish it. Let me say that again. Racism has and will always exist in America until white people extinguish it. Period. People be like, what are you going to do to fix racism? It's not for us to fix. It's not for us to get rid of. We didn't make it. We didn't create that evilness, that nonsense, that hatred, and that ignorance, because that's the thing about it. You look at that prototype and they're all the same. Just some ignorant, dirty, filthy, hillbilly type people. Or all up in the air with their nose type of people. And I've never understood how somebody who's poor like me could hate me and side with the powers that be. Because little to some's knowledge, you can do your research. Before this was back in the slavery days, and see, they had a peasant class of white people too that the elite people used to shit on, and black people and those poor white people started hooking up and uprising. So in order to curb that, the white elite society back during slavery had to crack the door open and let that peasant white man and woman in and welcome them to keep them from uprising with us. There were several instances that happened throughout history just like that. And see, right now, it's every ethnicity. Somebody is struggling. And in every ethnicity is somebody looking down their nose at them. And that's when the people who are being looked down upon are supposed to link up, are supposed to come together so we can get on that same level and look down at them while they fall. Because see, a lot of things are going to happen, but in order for things to get and be put in order, it is going to take an action from a people who are knowledgeable of that fact. And it is a lot of us who are knowledgeable of the fact that we were here first. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. See, there are a lot of us that know that we are a direct descendant from the Most High. See, there are a lot of us who are plugging in and opening and just have that spirituality about us. And there are a lot of us who see things differently than others, who may feel things differently than others, but the main thing that's needed for us, because our power lies within each other. And we can crush these so-called powers that be, because there's more power in the people than there are people in power. There is more power in the people than there are people in power. And see, now you got this fool, Donald Trump Jr., coming out talking about the Republican Party is dead. And we saw him murder it the 4 years prior to this 4-year hellhole we've been going through. We saw Donald Trump, Donald, kill the Republican Party. That was no news. But I said that to say this. Just like they can create their MAGA movement, we can create our own Black First. That's just my name for it, because that's what it need to be about. Movement. Black First movement. Period. If it ain't about black, I don't want to hear it. Because I'm going to say this, because I've said it several times, and I just want to say it again, because it ain't going to never change. I'm not concerned about nobody else and what's happening with nobody else and what kind of struggles and what they going through. I'm worried about my people. I'm worried about me. I'm worried about you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not uncompassionate about people's situations, but my concerns are about my people, because we are going through it and have been going through it and are always going to be a target to go through it in this country, period. That's what this country was built on, Democrat or Republican. A lot of people like to try to praise Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln ain't freed no slaves. Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the North. Hell, the North wanted free labor. The North was not slavery free. It just wasn't as dominant in the North as it was in the South. So get that ideology out of your head. So Democrat or Republican, it don't matter to me. And we got these two jackasses, Dumb Donald and Ain't Shit Joe, running again. That's how I know the world is coming to an end. Yeah, because that shit ain't supposed to happen. Like I say, Donald Trump should not even be allowed to run again. And then you have a Supreme Court who upholds him being able to run. So that means, hey, I can say this and get away with it. I can coerce people into going to the White House and taking a shit and pissing in it and breaking windows and beating up guards and killing guards, and I can still run for president again. See, that's that privilege. And even that privilege come back to bite its own ass sometime. I don't get it. Make it make sense. I mean, there are people who have done things on lower levels of government who have been ostracized and never allowed to run again, and not on the level that he did. This fool tried to hijack the White House. This fool did not want to leave the White House. He did not want to lose that power. So why would you give him an opportunity to get that same power again? America's got to be the dumbest country in existence right now. I always tell my queen that, those are the smartest dummies. God's smartest dummies. And they prove it time and time and time again by the dumb stuff they do, thinking they doing something smart. But it ended up being like, oh, that really, yeah. Just, I don't know, I'm really going to be disappointed in us, I know, because we're going to go out and vote for the same fool who ain't done what he said he was going to do the last 4 years. And then I've been hearing a lot of black people talking about voting for Donald Trump because of that. And just because one don't mean the other one will. And the reason I say withhold the vote, because that'll hurt them both. And then they'll recognize. And see, that could really be the start of a whole movement. Because what we really need is to start our own. We need to start thinking and moving in a direction of self-sufficiency. where we depend on one another, where we don't go outside one another for help. We have help in-house. This is what we got to get back to doing, being a national family like we were a national family some 60, 70 years ago during the 50s and 60s. Black people were a national family. Black people were on code. Black people thought alike. They moved alike. They worked together. They built together. They recognized how much they needed each other. And we all we got. We should see that and understand that we're all we got. But like I always say, we are all we need. We are all we need. That's all I got. So I hope that, I'm not trying to say, I'm right, but I hope I've said something to make you really think about, what do you get for your vote? What have we gotten from this president and vice president the last 4 years? And I will say, the records even show it, hey, Trump's an ass, but things economically were not this bad with Dumb Donald. So, do what your heart leads you to do. And I really hope that the spirit of the Most High move all us to start moving the same way. Stop fooling with these people that don't fool with us. Stop fooling with these people that don't respect us, that mistreat us continuously. Because we don't have to. All we really need to do is hook up. And once we start our own flow, it'll work, because we the masters of everything that we survey. Everything we touch, it turns to gold, basically. We really can't hardly do no wrong when we trying to get it right. And it's time for us to get it right. So I'm going to leave y'all with that. I appreciate, like I say, y'all subscribing and liking and share the content. Share it with your kids. I try to keep the language to a minimum, because they need to know as well. We got to start giving them this power, this power right here. Because this is where the power and the knowledge and the power and the wealth, all of it lies right here. Without this right here, you nothing. And we've taken a lot of nothing and made something because of this right here. So let's pass that on. Let's get our young people in order. Because they not what society says they are. And we got to make that true. So, like I always say, I appreciate y'all subscribing, liking the content, share the content. I appreciate my ActivateMedia.org family out of Boston, Mass, and my guy Patrick Wilson. That's all I got. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And like I always say in closing, hey, let's plan, organize, and unify, because we all have a key right here and right here. I'm out. Peace, power, and love.